Look directly into the lens. You've seen it. Your dog spots you. Or maybe it's their favorite person, or just the crinkle sound of a treat bag from the other room, and their tail doesn't just wag, it goes in full circles, like a helicopter, like a tiny furry propeller that absolutely cannot be stopped, no matter what. Pause. Let that image sit for a second. That's not just excitement. That's something much more specific than that. And by the end of this video, every single time you see that ridiculous full circle uncontrollable helicopter spin, you're going to feel it completely differently than you do right now. Most people see a wagging tail and think happy dog. Done. Mystery solved. Move on. Short, heavy pause. But here's where it gets interesting. Actually, wait. Interesting isn't even the right word. It gets kind of emotional once you understand what's actually happening inside their body when that tail moves in circles versus side to side versus low and slow. Because a wagging tail isn't one emotion, it's a whole vocabulary. And most of us, myself included, for a long time, have been reading only one word out of an entire language our dogs have been speaking their whole lives. And that's not neglect, that's just not knowing. But here's the thing. What if you've been misreading your dog's most honest moments this entire time? What if the moments you thought were simple were actually saying something a lot bigger? There's one specific tail signal I'm going to get to, around point 4, that animal behaviorists have only recently started studying properly. And when I tell you what it means, you are going to think back to a real moment with your dog and feel it completely differently. I genuinely promise. If you've ever watched your dog's tail and wondered what was actually going on in there, stick around. This one's going to change how you watch them. Here's something most people never realize. The direction your dog's tail wags is not random. It's not just enthusiasm flapping around in whatever direction it feels like. Dogs actually wag to the right when they're experiencing positive emotions, approach, joy, recognition. And they wag to the left when they're anxious, uncertain, or unsettled. This isn't a theory. It's tied to brain hemisphere dominance, the same mechanism that works in humans. The left brain controls the right side of the body and governs positive approach behaviors. The right brain controls the left side and handles threat responses. Your dog's tail is basically wired directly into that system. Look directly into the lens. Your dog's tail is basically a mood ring, except it actually works. Think about the last time your dog's tail was wagging when the vet walked in. Low, slow, drifting slightly left. You probably read that as, okay, a little nervous, but fine. But their body was already communicating something more specific than that. Apprehension wearing the thinnest possible smile. The books and training videos never tell you this part. They just show you a wagging tail and call it a day. Once you know about direction, the speed starts to make sense too. A fast wag means high arousal, but arousal isn't always joy. It can be overstimulation. It can be anxiety that's revving up. A slow wag means your dog is processing something, weighing a situation, not fully committed to how they feel yet. A tucked wag, where the tail is moving but curled underneath, is fear trying to be polite. It's your dog saying, I'm not sure about this, but I don't want trouble. And then there's the loose, full body wag. The one where their entire back half comes along for the ride. The butt wiggle that makes it physically impossible to stay stressed yourself. That one, that's it. That's pure, uncomplicated happiness with absolutely nothing complicated underneath it. Short pause. Here's the gut punch version of all of this. We've been reading the headline, tail up, tail moving, and completely skipping the article. The actual story was right there the whole time and we just weren't trained to read it. Okay. Now we're getting to it. The helicopter tail, the one from the title. The circular wag is anatomically distinct from everything else a dog's tail can do. It requires full tail mobility, the whole length, not just the base. It requires full muscular relaxation, which means no tension anywhere in the body. And it requires a very specific emotional state that sits right at the intersection of joy, anticipation, and genuine deep social connection. Dogs don't do this for strangers. They don't do this reliably just for food. Behavioral research on this is pretty clear. The circular wag is almost exclusively reserved for beings the dog has a real emotional bond with. The people they've chosen, the ones their nervous system has decided actually matter. Hold up one finger, let this land. Your dog's tail goes in circles because their whole body can't contain what they feel when they see you. It is physically overflowing. Their tail is too full of it to just go side to side like a normal thing. It has to go all the way around. I don't know about you, but the first time I really understood that, I had to sit with it for a minute. This is the one I teased earlier, and I need you to actually let this one land. Italian neuroscientists Giorgio Balordagara and Angelo Quaranta ran a study on exactly this: tail wag direction and how other dogs respond to it. What they found was remarkable. When a dog saw another dog wagging to the right, they stayed calm and approached. When they saw another dog wagging to the left, signaling anxiety or uncertainty, they showed measurable stress responses, elevated heart rate, avoidance behavior. They moved away. Her short, heavy pause. So dogs aren't just broadcasting their emotions through their tails. They're reading each other's emotions through them too, in real time, without a single sound. But here's the part that really gets me. Your dog doesn't just read other dogs this way. They read you. They read your posture when you walk in the door. They read the set of your shoulders, the pace of your footsteps, the way you exhale when you sit down, and their tail, their whole body, responds to what they pick up from you before you said a single word. When you come home defeated and completely hollowed out from a day that broke you a little bit, their tail already knows. They're already adjusting, already moving toward you differently. We think we're hiding it. We're not hiding anything. This is the uncomfortable one. I want to say it carefully because it comes from a good place, but it needs to be said. Some tail behaviors get misread and then corrected. A dog does a low, slow wag near a small child, and the owner reads it as aggression and scolds them. But that wag was communication. That was caution. That was the dog saying, "I'm not sure about this interaction. I'm being careful here." And now they've been told to stop communicating. Or the tucked tail wag that happens during a training session when a dog is nervous, and someone laughs at it or snaps at the dog to just do the thing, and now a nervous dog is more nervous and has less trust than they had 5 minutes ago. Look directly into the lens. Every training video is going to show you a confident tail-up dog and tell you that's the goal. Real life says sometimes your dog's tail is tucked because you raised your voice last Tuesday and they haven't fully reset yet. That's not a training problem. That's a relationship conversation. And the first step in having that conversation is actually understanding what they're telling you. Here's a complete flip, because everything we've talked about so far has been about movement, but the absence of movement is its own signal. And it's one that most people completely miss. A completely still tail isn't neutral. A rigid, motionless tail is often a sign of intense focus or rising tension. It's the calm before the storm. And because there's no growling, no raised hair, no obvious drama, owners see two dogs standing there with still tails and think they're fine. They're just meeting each other. That still moment is frequently the moment right before a dog incident that everyone later says came out of nowhere. It didn't come from nowhere. The tail was already talking. We just didn't have the language yet. Look directly into the lens. This one's important. You now have the language. Let me bring this back to something soft, because I think you need it after all of that. Your dog's tail doesn't lie. It can't perform. It has no interest in being polite for the sake of it. In a world absolutely full of people who say one thing and mean something else entirely, your dog's body is always honest with you. And here's the micro behavior I want to leave you with, because it absolutely destroys me every time I think about it. The sleepy tail wag. You know, the one your dog is half asleep, maybe curled up at the foot of the bed or on the couch, and you lean over and say their name softly. Just their name. And without opening their eyes, without lifting their head, the tail moves. Just barely, just once or twice. A tiny, almost involuntary sweep. They're not awake enough to decide to respond. That wag is just pure. It's reflex. It's love running on autopilot. They heard you and their body answered before their brain even caught up. Speak quietly. Slow down. Next time you walk through that door, tired, distracted, carrying whatever the day put on you, and their tail starts going in circles, that full, ridiculous, can't stop, won't stop helicopter spin, you'll know exactly what that means now. It means you are one of the very few beings on this entire planet that this dog's body responds to that way. Not the food, not the toy, not the leash by the door. You. You specifically, your smell, your footstep, your voice. Their nervous system built a response just for you, and it looks like a tiny furry propeller that cannot be contained. They can't say, I love you. They can't write it down or text it or leave a note. So instead, their whole body just spins. And honestly, short pause, soft smile. I think that might be better. Share this with someone whose dog does the helicopter tail. They deserve to know what it means.